Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online Regulation H VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be featuring one of the most creative teams to come out of any major tournament in the Regulation H format. This team got top 8 at one of the first regional championships over in Europe, and it features a ton of awesome Pokemon and sets, such as Drifblim paired with Indeedee, Specs Toxtricity, Assault Vest Hydreigon, Life Orb Volcarona, and Iron Defense Kommo-O. It is just such a creative team, and I'm so glad to finally be able to feature it, since it definitely was one of the teams that caught my eye in the beginning of the format. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoy, I'd really appreciate if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton. Anyway, let's get started. If you're interested in trying out the team, the rental code is on the screen, and there's also an accompanying Pokepaste down in the description below. This team utilizes some really underrated Pokemon in the format, including Specs Toxtricity, as well as Psychic Seed Drifblim. Toxtricity can do massive amounts of damage with moves like Overdrive, Sludge Bomb, and Boom Burst in particular is really powerful. The downside normally of Boom Burst is that you're going to hit your own partner, but you've got Drifblim as well as Soundproof Kommo-O and Ghost Hydreigon to be immune to the side Boom Burst. When positioned properly, Toxtricity can very quickly win you a game, and it can also be perfect for closing out matches. Drifblim is really valuable for setting up speed control for this team because most of the Pokemon are in a decent speed tier range, but you are outsped by a lot of common Pokemon, and so Drifblim enables the rest of the team. Indeedee can do a lot of damage with Expanding Force. Life Orb Volcarona can do a lot more damage than people generally expect from Volcarona. People will often expect a setup set when they see this Pokemon, so having the Life Orb allows you to just get big surprise one-hit knockouts with your moves. And you've also got an Assault Vest Hydreigon, which is really good into, for example, size spam teams. Finally, you've got a Body Press Iron Defense Kommo-O to round things, and the idea behind Kommo-O here is that it can set up very quickly against physical teams, and Drifblim paired with the Kommo-O can make physical attackers really miserable thanks to the combination of Will-O-Wisp, Strength Sap, and Iron Defense. To give some quick context, this team was featured at the Dortmund Regional Championships, which took place at the end of September 2024. The tournament had over 700 players competing in it, and Clarke built and piloted this team to a top 8 finish. This team stands out for so many different reasons. First of all of these Pokemon just really look out of place when you look at the top 16. This tournament in particular actually had a lot of really standard team compositions, a lot of teams that look very similar to each other, as you can see in the top 16. Jack basically brought a team with Pokemon that really no one else was using at the time. For example, if you look at Drifblim's usage in this tournament, Jack was literally the only player out of 710 people competing to bring Drifblim to the tournament. If you look at Toxtricity, there was literally only one other player that brought it to the tournament. So this was just such a cool anti-meta team at the beginning of the format that featured so many cool and unique sets. Kommo-O, by the way, is a Pokemon that we've seen rising in usage recently, but at the time of this tournament, it was definitely not nearly as popular, and Kommo-O actually did have a lot of solid performances in this event. Jack was the highest finisher with Kommo-O, but there were a lot of other people in the top 32 that had it on their teams as well, so I thought that was interesting. But overall, this team just really sticks out, and I think it's just so fun. Definitely caught so many people off guard in this event as well, and you just have so many crazy tricks. So really wanted to give Jack props because he's been definitely one of the most creative team builders I've seen over in Europe, and he's day 2'd a lot of different tournaments using all kinds of awesome strategies. Breaking down the team, the first Pokemon that I want to highlight is Specs Toxtricity. Toxtricity is a really cool Pokemon because of Punk Rock. This ability increases the damage of your sound moves and also decreases how much you take from sound moves. Both Boom Burst and Overdrive are considered sound moves, and Boom Burst is a normal type attack with base 140 power and hits all the Pokemon on the field, including your ally Pokemon. Overdrive is base 80, hits both of your opponent's Pokemon, and has no additional effects. So you'll get a damage multiplier from Punk Rock, you'll get a damage multiplier from Specs, and with normal Terra, you'll also get a damage multiplier on Boom Burst, of course. And so much about this Toxtricity is finding right spots where it can ideally just pick off Pokemon and get knockout after knockout. Normal Terra, Specs, Punk Rock, Boom Burst is incredible, but you obviously have to be careful because you will damage your own Pokemon normally. So to counteract that, you've got the Drifblim, which is Ghost typing, Kommo-O, which is soundproof and is immune to Boom Burst, as well as Hydreigon, which is Ghost Terra here. The idea is Toxtricity paired with any of these can really blow things up with Boom Burst, while the other Pokemon can still freely attack. Drifblim is going to be really important for speed control for the Toxtricity, which, by the way, outpaces Adamant Max Speed Dragonite by 1 point, so that's a good benchmark for you to remember. Drifblim is one of my all-time favorite Pokemon, and it was very good back in VGC 2017 and 2018. You've got Drifblim plus Indeedee here, so the idea is the Psychic Surge will go off, Drifblim's Psychic Seed will activate, and then suddenly you'll be able to pressure with a very fast Tailwind. Will-O-Wisp and Strength Sap is really good into all the physical attackers that exist in the format, and you've even got Acrobatics. Acrobatics, once that Psychic Seed is consumed, actually does really meaningful damage, and there are a lot of Pokemon in the format that are weak to it, such as Rillaboom, as well as Amoonguss and Whimsicott, for example. This Drifblim is mainly meant to disrupt your opponent with Will-O-Wisp Strength Sap, set up Tailwind for yourself, and also be able to get some damage off with Acrobatics. Physical attackers in particular really struggle against Drifblim because you'll be able to just neutralize its attack, and Strength Sap is an awesome move because not only are you able to decrease your opponent's attack, you're also able to heal Drifblim by a ton. One of the things to note on this team is that you actually have 31 attack IV on Kommo-O as well as the Hydreigon. I believe Toxtricity actually should be 31 attack IV here as well, so quick note on that. But the idea is with that, you can side Strength Sap yourself in order to heal for more, which I think is really cool as well, and so it's a potential play that you can make. Indeedee here is pretty standard. The main thing to note is that you've got the ground Terra Blast rather than something like Psychic Terra Blast, which we sometimes see, and then Protect as well, for example, is an option that Indeedees will often run. But here, ground Terra Blast is really valuable because Steel type Pokemon can be kind of annoying. So Pokemon like Archaludon, Goldengo, for example, can be tough, and with ground Terra Blast, you can two-shot a lot of those common Pokemon. Incineroar can obviously be annoying for the Indeedee Drifblim combination as well, so being able to ground Terra Blast and do a lot to that is also valuable. Pretty straightforward Pokemon. You mainly want to find positions for it to just spam Expanding Force, and the thing to note here is without Psychic Terra, you don't have something like a Psychic Terra Expanding Force, but ground Terra Blast is just really, really key in a lot of different matchups. To round out the team, you've got Life Orb Volcarona. Life Orb Volcarona is really interesting. It's not an item that we normally see on this Pokemon. Generally, you'll see, for example, Leftovers or Covert Cloak, but we're not Quiver Dance here. We're Life Orb, and the idea is to just be able to pick up big one-hit knockouts to catch your opponent off guard. Volcarona has one of the highest base special attacks in the format out of any viable legal Pokemon, and with the Life Orb, you are able to just really burst things down, right? Life Orb Heat Wave, so good into so many different Pokemon in the format, like King Gambit, as well as Goldengo. You also have Bug Buzz, which is really good into, for example, Psychic type Pokemon as well as Grass type Pokemon if you don't want to rely on Heat Wave because it can miss. And then you've also got Life Orb Fairy Terra Blast. This is really valuable in just sniping down Dragon type Pokemon like Dragonite, Garchomp, as well as Dragapult, for example. And the idea here is with that Fairy Terra, you also of course become immune to Dragon type attacks, so this is really good into Skill Shot Dragonite in particular, which is one of the most common sets right now. You also have Kommo-O on this team, which is really cool. This is the most defensive Pokemon on the team, and the idea is that with Drifblim and Kommo-O, you can just really make physical attackers very, very miserable. Kommo-O is going to be really important into Pokemon that generally match up well into Indeedee and Drifblim. Dark-type Pokemon like Incineroar and Tyranitar, for example, can be really annoying for this duel because you can barely hit them, and so Kommo-O is going to be important as a Pokemon that can switch in or be led against them and start going for Iron defenses immediately. You've got Leftovers, so you can heal back a lot, and then you've got Soundproof as well, which is valuable, of course, for Toxtricity's own Boom Burst, but also valuable for things like Hyper Voice as well as Parting Shot from your opponent. Finally, you've got Assault Vest Hydreigon. This is a cool item on Hydreigon, and Hydreigon actually just got top 8 at 2 different teams in the most recent regional championships we had in this format. It's a bulky Pokemon, and you, first of all, are immune to ground type attacks with Levitate, which is already really nice because Ursaluna is really common in the format. Ghost Terra is also really nice. With this, you can completely wall regular Ursaluna because Facade as well as Headlong Rush and Earthquake all basically won't do anything into you. So Ghost Terra is a really nice defensive Terra, gets around Ursaluna, also gets around things like, for example, Sneasler with close combat, and Hydreigon plus Toxtricity is a nice combo because you can normal Terra Boom Burst, or sorry, Ghost Terra, and then get around Boom Burst from the Toxtricity. And then this Hydreigon is just bulky. You've got Dark Pulse, Draco Meteor, Earth Power, and Snarl. So the idea is with this set, you can tank special attacks, do a lot of damage. And Snarl is really nice because normally it's a move you don't expect to do a lot of damage. But with Hydreigon being so powerful, even without any damage multipliers like Life Orb or Specs, Snarl can actually do really meaningful damage. With this team, I'd say you often do want to aim for good speed control, and so Drifblim is going to be a critical part of that. So Indeedee Drifblim is a common lead, and then you can pick 2 of the 4 to round things out. If your opponent's team is relatively slow and you already naturally outpace with the Pokemon that are remaining, like Volcarona, Kommo-O, Toxtricity, and Hydreigon, you can drop Tailwind overall, but just keep in mind that you don't have Protect on a lot of different Pokemon, right? The Toxtricity as well as the Hydreigon, and so just leaves you a little bit vulnerable if you are being outsped by your opponent. But in cases where your opponent doesn't have a lot of speed, you can just lead things like Toxtricity Kommo-O, Toxtricity Hydreigon, threaten with Ghost Terra, or threaten with Iron Defense while you normal Terra Boom Burst, for example, which are pretty cool combos as well. But I think the safe way to generally play with the team is Entity Drifblim +2. You can also lead Drifblim without Entity because this Pokemon is actually decently speedy anyway, even without the Unburden active. So I've had games where I just go Drifblim, Toxtricity, and Tailwind normal Terra Boom Burst, for example. Drifblim Kommo-O, where Kommo-O is going to be a really nice response to things that normally beat Entity Drifblim like Dark-type Pokemon, and just threaten with Tailwind plus Iron Defense or Body Press, for example. And so those are some other combinations to consider. But overall, a lot about this team is just setting yourself up for really good offensive success, especially with Toxtricity as well as Volcarona. And so it's about finding the right spots to bring these Pokemon out and ideally giving them some speed control. In terms of weaknesses, the first thing that I want to call out is that Dark-type and Steel-type Pokemon can be annoying if you lead Entity and Drifblim specifically. So, for example, Incineroar, Tyranitar, Gholdengo, Kingambit, Archaladon all are Pokemon that can wall you decently, and often Entity will have to commit Ground Terra Blast in order to do meaningful damage to them. The upside is that Drifblim has the Will-O-Wisp and Strength Slap, so physical attackers, which often are, Dark-type Pokemon that threaten you, can be neutralized a little bit. But then Entity can often be just caught in a really bad spot if you have a Dark-type Pokemon out on the field, right? Tyranitar is a really good example because it also sets up the Sand, which breaks Focus Sash, and yes, we can burn it, but it still does a lot of damage to our team. And so if you see a lot of those Pokemon on your opponent's team, you might want to consider not leading Entity Drifblim immediately, and you can even lead Drifblim without Entity and still set up Tailwind because it is often bulky enough to take an attack, for example. But yeah, I think those are all Pokemon that can immediately put on some pressure against you if you lead this combination. Some other things to note, Hydreigon here is Assault Vested, so don't expect it to pick up big one-hit knockouts. Your opponents can often defensively Terra against it. If you commit Terra early on, this becomes obviously really weak to Fairy, Dragon, as well as Fighting, and you can't protect, so you have to be extra cautious of that. Toxtricity here is going to be countered by a couple things. First of all, Wide Guard's really annoying, so even the threat of Wide Guard shutting down Boom Burst and Overdrive, I think, is really scary. Ghost Terra is going to be really strong to get around Boom Burst in particular. Obviously, having a Pokemon that can resist it is valuable as well, so something like a Steel Terra Assault Vest Pokemon or a Steel typing Assault Vest Pokemon can be scary. Archaladon with Assault Vest, I think you actually have to be very careful in fighting against because you don't have that many ways to really quickly knock it out, right? The main way would be Earth powering with Volcarona or Hydreigon, and then pairing it up with a Heat Wave from Volcarona, for example. Or you will do a decent damage with Boom Burst as well as Overdrive, right? Because you just have a lot of multipliers, but don't expect it to come close to knocking it out. So against Assault Vest Archaladon, you need to combo a bunch of different attacks, for example. Kommo-O here is going to be vulnerable to Haze. Pelipper is really annoying for this because it can Hurricane you and Weather Ball you if you Fire Terra, for example. Volcarona here is not the most defensive. You got some HP EVs, so keep that in mind, but it's a Pokemon that I think is vulnerable to, for example, missing Heat Wave, which can be really scary, and attacking into a Protect and then just getting targeted in return. I think some tricky matchups I face include Trick Room. Trick Room specifically is not necessarily, hard Trick Room is not actually that much of an issue because you've got the Imprison here, but a well-timed Trick Room can be really annoying since this team, especially if you bring Toxtricity and Hydreigon, can't protect. And so if you're up against an opponent that's smart and is able to set up their Trick Room at the right time, especially after, say, Entity has been knocked out, that can be really annoying. Dark Terra Sneasler can be annoying with the Psychic Seed because it can just threaten Drifblim with Dark Terra Throat Chop, for example, so that can be a little bit scary, and it'll be able to outpace you. Screens with Rain has been a little bit scary to go up against as well. I think Screens in general is just annoying for this team because it prevents you from getting the big one-hit knockouts that you often want to get, especially with Pokemon like Toxtricity and Volcarona, and ultra bulky Pokemon that can soak up a lot of damage while also healing back can be pretty scary. So those are just a couple of notes. Okay, we've got the classic combo of Dragonite, Ursaluna, Blood Moon, Gholdengo with Ensign, Rillaboom, and Tauros. Pretty interesting to see Tauros there. It's not a Pokemon that has a ton of usage in the format right now, but definitely has some great use cases. Let's see. Volcarona has really solid damage output in this one. Might be Assault Vest Ursaluna. Dragonite can Haze. Is there anything I can do with Toxtricity lead? We have to be very careful about Scale Shot Dragonite. Because of that, I think I still default towards Drifblim and DD as the lead. And then in the back, kind of think I need Kommo-O in this one. I want to go Kommo-O Toxtricity. Hydreigon here is not very good into Dragonite. If they Terra, we're kind of like just skill shot bait. So I don't love it. And their team does have... I think Hydreigon's value mainly would be for Ursaluna. But like Blood Moon and Hyper Voice still do a decent bit to us. Golden Go and Dragonite, okay. I could Tailwind turn one, I could Will-O-Wisp, but they could Skill Shot plus make it rain. If you're Specs Golden Go, you could just go for Terra Shadow Ball into us, which is scary. Spec Shadow Ball. I think I'd lean towards Will-O-Wisp and Expanding Force. Because I don't want Skill Shot to knock out NDD. So Will-O-Wisp connects. Nice. Onto the Dragonite. Okay. Let me just go for Make It Rain. Scarf Golden Go. Not shocking, but we're going to get Expanding Force off. Break the multi-skill here. And they Skill Shot into us. Okay, cool. That did 17, so should be able to survive 5. I can just go for Tailwind, Ground Terra, Terra Blast now, I think. I do also have Strength Sap, but I'd really like to knock out the Golden Go. Ideally. Dragonite's not too big of a threat. I can Acrobatics that at any point. Yeah, I think I'll want to go for this. What's the alternative? They're going to make it rain again. So I guess I could switch in Toxtricity or Kommo-O. Because Golden Go might switch here. I think I actually don't mind a Toxtricity switch in here, so I can commit or save Terra and then Acrobatics into Dragonite. I'm down. We'll see if Golden Go swaps here. Okay, no swap. I just didn't feel the need to get that knockout immediately, and I think conserving NDD for terrain control later on is still valuable. Okay, Dragonite protects, that's fine. I can either Strength Sap this next turn and go for... Honestly, normal Terra Boom Burst is interesting because you would think Golden Go might want to switch out. But here's another Make It Rain. Yeah, not really a ton to us. Okay, they know I have Acrobatics now, so they should be a little bit spooked. I don't even know if another Make It Rain KOs, truthfully. I kind of want to Strength Sap and heal all the way back up. Yeah, I would get a lot of value from Strength Sapping here. I think I'm down to normal Terra, Boom Burst, and Strength Sap. Oh, they actually stay in with Golden Go. Okay. Well, I'll be able to heal all the way back up against the Dragonite. I guess their logic was they want to KO the Drifblim, I guess. Make It Rain is stronger now that I give up my resistance, so... I just thought, like, they really had to switch here, which is why I went for this play. But it's okay. Like, this could have just been Acrobatics plus Overdrive, for example. So there's another Make It Rain. Yeah, Tox actually takes some damage now from that. Okay. And they go for Tailwind. Alright, fine by me. We'll get the knockout onto Dragonite. Yeah, and the logic here is if I'm expecting Golden Go to switch and they pivot in like Incin or Ursaluna, getting a Specs Boom Burst is like potentially just game winning because it's so much damage. And honestly, in this scenario, it's not even that bad because like Golden Go is now at -3 special attack, right? It's Choice Scarf Golden Go. You're not going to get a knockout into either slot. Drifblim still has a lot of pressure here. I think what makes sense is Ursaluna, and then, yeah, so Ursaluna's out, and now I think what they should do is probably actually pivot this into Rillaboom, and then go for a Vacuum Wave into Toxtricity is my guess. If this goes out into Rillaboom, I really think they should have Rilla in the back. I guess critically, I haven't set up Tailwind yet. And I do expect this to be Assault Vest Ursaluna. So the question is whether or not I want to read the Rilla switch in. But I think I'm okay going for Boom Burst here. And just Tailwinding here this turn. Okay, they do switch. So now the question is it Vacuum Wave? Because if not, then I set up Tailwind. Oh, that's not Rilla. Ooh. This is so nice for Toxtricity. Okay, I get my Tailwind up, and then I just get Specs Boom Burst. Beautiful. And this is the amazing thing about having the Unburden. Even with Tailwind up, we're still faster. And now it's Specs Boom Burst. Okay. Amazing. And I've staggered Tailwind by a turn as well, which is fantastic. Oh my goodness. Well, that's it, folks. There needs to be no more games after this. Oh my god, that was so satisfying. 3 turns of Tailwind, last turn of Terrain. I mean, it's just a single Kommo-O, but we do want to make sure we take advantage of the speed. And they probably lock into Make It Rain, right? Which is fine. You know, one of the cool things we can do is actually side Strength Sap in this game. But anyway, we just need a Flamethrower with Kommo-O to end the game, and I don't need Inity at this point in the game. So what we're going to do is swap in Inity here. And Acrobatics. Okay, yeah. Probably didn't need to think that much through the turn, but the Golden Go is locked into Boom Burst. The Entity doesn't actually have that much offense, and Drifblim only has Acrobatics as well, but all we need to do is, like, let them click Make It Rain once, and then Kommo-O comes out, and then should be able to finish off the game with Flamethrower. But this is what Toxtricity can do, and that's why I went for the normal Terra previously, right? Because I was like, I thought Golden Go was going to switch out, so if Golden Go pivots out, we just knock something out as it comes in. But yeah, so much of the Toxtricity is just finding this, like, really good position to click the normal Terra Boom Burst, or ideally Boom Burst, sometimes Overdrive as well, of course, and Sludge Bomb. But I cannot believe, like, just to get that double knockout felt so satisfying. Okay, we have a team that looks very similar to Gabriel Gotti's team with Garchomp, Dragonite, Gambit, Ninetales, and Incineroar. This one just has Sneasler over the Amoonguss that you often see on these comps. It was one of the top teams in the beginning days of the metagame. We haven't seen it being used as much, but, you know, just fundamentally has such solid Pokemon. No terrain control here, but they do have 2 dark types, so I would expect Incineroar and King Gambit to come out into this battle, making Kommo-O a really valuable pick. It's Fire Terra Kommo-O. Yeah, I think Kommo-O is probably the main star of this one. If I were my opponent, what would I lead with? One of the dark types, maybe even both of them, honestly. I think Drifblim Kommo-O is interesting because I could always just pivot out into Indeedee. Assault Vest Hydreigon, I don't love here. Volk with Fairy Terra seems like he should be able to do a ton of damage in this game. Toxtricity is not bad with Overdrive, admittedly, or Boom Burst. It's mainly just not going to get one-hit knockouts. I think that's okay. But I think because we have Fairy Terra on Volk, it's just way too good to not bring in this matchup. Like, with Fairy Terra, I can Terra Dragonite, and I get to Wall Dragonite. I can attack into Garchomp. I can Heat Wave into Gambit and Ninetales. It's just way too much damage to be passing up on. So, Toxtricity is cool. My problem here is I need speed control for it, right? Otherwise, for example, Garchomp's a big problem. We're going to go Sneasler plus the Dragonite. Interesting. Okay. Coaching Scale Shot's definitely a possibility. I kind of want to just Will-O-Wisp Dragonite turn 1. I could also Tailwind, but I can see them Scale Shotting. I do have Iron Defense here as well. But they have Haze. I'm actually kind of surprised this was their lead into a potential Drifblim Indeedee. This would have been really weak in a Drifblim Indeedee, in my opinion. But yeah, I think I'm going to Will-O-Wisp Dragonite here and then bring out Indeedee. I'm guessing if they're leading this, it means they have King Gambit and or Incineroar in the back, though. Which is fine by me. I want to save Kommo-O for those. I think I'm mainly surprised to see that as the lead for my opponent, because I think the main lead you want to cover for when you see my team is the Drifblim Immunity combo. And I think their lead is actually very weak into that. But we're going to get the burn off here immediately, so that's good. Okay. Coaching? Yeah, that makes sense. That's fine, though. Burnt Scale Shot, not as scary. And this next turn now I pressure with Tailwind Scale Shot, or Tailwind Expanding Force. Okay, that did 30, so 150 max around. 3, 4. Nice, only 4 hits as well. Cool. We should be really well positioned now. You're burnt. You do get the speed boost, but that's fine. I think Tailwind Expanding Force here is pretty free. I'm just going to go for that. Instead of Tailwinding, I could Strength Sap theoretically as well into this. I think I'm okay going for Tailwind here, though, and Expanding Force. My guess is you pivot one of them into Incineroar King Gambit, and then, like, Dragonite into Instant King Gambit could make sense. They could just attack with both here as well, which means I would have had the opportunity to maybe Acrobatics, and they do actually just attack with both. Okay. Man, this is where if I had Psychic Terra on NED, that would have been sick. But this is going to do a ton of damage. Brings them down to Sashed, yeah. Okay. Ah, Dragonite has Tailwind. Okay. Not a big surprise. That's a big tech that people have been using recently. And they will close combat into the NDD slot. Okay. So a lot of speed dynamics across the board right now. Sneasler probably a Sashed, you would guess. I'm still going to be faster than Dragonite, though. So I think what I want to do here is Acro. Because they're at -1 defense, so Acro should finish this off. They have Tailwind in the speed boost, but we have Unburden and Tailwind. So Acro into you. And I think I'm fine just giving up NDD here. Yeah. Okay. Dragonite's out of the way. We're fast. Wait, are they not Unburden? Claw comes out. Yeah, so they aren't Unburden, right? Because they have Tailwind active as well. So that means Drifblim can just finish off that slot next turn, which is big. Now let's think about what's coming in. Incineroar, King Gambit, Garchomp, Ninetales. We can burn Garchomp and King Gambit. Incineroar would be annoying. Kommo would be good for that. And Kommo could also fire Terra instead of in front of Ninetales. I actually do like Volcare more, I think. We'll see if Vincent comes out, because I've already revealed Kommo-O. So I think they might go into their fort to beat Kommo-O. That's Ninetales. Cool. Okay. And we know that your Ninetales isn't Sashed either, which is huge. We've seen Coaching. It might not have Protect. We both have 2 turns of Tailwind. It's just like Acro to finish this off is so obvious. And this probably wants to defensively Terra. Like Water, for example. My guess is this protects this Terra, but it might not have Protect as the thing. I'm thinking about Strength Sap to heal back up. Yeah, I'm going to Strength Sap and Heat Wave here. Okay, they switched. That's fine. Incin or Gambit. Wow, they just brought nothing for Expanding Force. I can't, like, Drifblim Immunity, I guess their answer against it is that they have the Dragonite, so they can just Scale Shot. Oh, but it's Ice Terra. Interesting. Okay. I don't mind that. If we hit Heat Wave, it's a KO. I wonder if this heals me enough where I survive Blizzard. Let's see. It might be. Let's see. I have the special defense boost. They're probably Choice Specs, though, is my guess. We do survive! That's sick. And Heat Wave doesn't miss. Let's go. Wow. Drifblim, you are so clutch. What was it able to do for us in this game? It was able to burn Dragonite, set up Tailwind for us, Acrobatics to finish off Dragonite, and be able to hang on against the Ninetales here. Amazing. And now I have Fairy Terra Blast, so I can just Acrobatics and Fairy Terra Blast. This is one of the reasons why Drifblim is a really cool anti-meta mod. Being able to just really ignore Sneasler is awesome for us here. So, double checking the board state. We've got Kommo in the back, Fairy Terra here. Yeah, I think I can just... I might actually want a Strength Sap here instead, truthfully. Because this could still have Protect. What am I worried about? Protect, and then, like, Rock Slide, mainly. Strength Slap into you. What if this protects? Okay, I'm just going to Acro Fairy Terra Blast. I mean, this wins us the game if they, for example, don't protect Sneasler. Kommo should beat Garchomp in the long run as well. I guess unless they're Life Orb Dragon Claw. And most Garchomps don't even carry Rock Slide, but yeah, the main play I'm worried about here is Sneasler protects, and then Garchomp goes for Rock Slide. And flinches me. But no protect. Okay, cool. I figured if they had protect, they would have gone for it sooner. Like, they would have gone for it the turn they switched Garchomp in. Oh, and we're just faster anyway. Okay, cool. So, nice. We should just get the knockout. Beautiful. Yeah, Drifblim was so awesome in this game. Being able to just accomplish so much for us throughout this entire battle. I'm amazed that it was able to hang on from an Ice Terra Blizzard from Ninetales. Speaks to the bulk that you have when you have that Psychic Seed active in particular. So, that was a really, really fun game to show off Drifblim. Okay, we've got Rilla, Grim, Archaludon, Goldengo, Incineroar, and Pelipper. Grimmsnarl is pretty scary. Archaludon is spooky as well. They've got Rain. If I were them, you would want to counteract into the Drifblim lead. Leading Incineroar could make some sense. Incin Grim, for example. I think if I were them, I'd probably go Incin, Grim, Rilla, Archaludon. So I'm thinking of leading Toxtricity to just pressure with Sludge Bomb immediately. I think I'm interested in Toxtricity and Kommo-O here. Drifblim doesn't feel that necessary in this game. It would mainly be to deal with Rillaboom, which admittedly is a good enough reason to consider it. But I think I want something like Toxtricity, Kommo-O, Hydreigon, Indeedee. Yeah, I'm down for this. Basically, the logic here is we're going to need a good bit of offense to get through the Archaludon. Toxtricity, I think, is really valuable in handling a lot of my opponent's team outside of the Archaludon specifically. And even with the Assault Vest Archaludon, like, we don't do that poorly into it because even though, yes, they resist our attacks, I also resist Body Press. You don't really want to Draco us, and if you do, you're at -2. It's going to be Rillaboom Goldengo, actually. Okay. Cool. They obviously pressure with something like Fake Out, Make It Rain, High Horsepower. Grassy Seed Rilla. Whoa. Okay. Honestly, the play I'm thinking about is Sludge Bomb into Rillaboom and then switch an Indeedee to block Fake Out turn 1. It could be Protect Rilla, obviously. They could also switch Rilla out immediately into Archaludon, which would be a very good play by them. I think it was worth considering just going for Iron Defense, like Fire Terra Iron Defense here. But if I snipe off Rillaboom immediately, it opens the game up for really our entire team, but especially Indeedee and Toxtricity. So I'm down to try to go for this on turn 1. Okay. Beautiful. We block Fake Out. Excellent. And here is Spec Sludge Bomb to one-shot Rillaboom. Beautiful. Rillaboom, one of the most common Pokemon in the format. Toxtricity has a really nice offensive matchup into it, as well as so many other Pokemon. So Goldengo's going to Nasty Plot, which is definitely scary, but that's okay. Confirms the Goldengo set, and also critically, now you no longer have terrain control, so Expanding Force is just more valuable. Yes, you have multiple Steel-type Pokemon, but that's fine. We do also have Terra Ground Indeedee, and I think Terra Ground Terra Blast is actually not bad for us right now. They bring the Goldengo, or they bring Archaludon in.
I've got Snarl on Hydreigon, which is good. Kommo is not that important into Golden Go, but decent into Archaludon. Make it rain right now. Definitely makes sense. I want to switch this out for sure. Okay. I think I want to switch into... who do I actually want to go out into here? I'm going to go Kommo-O, Terra Blast, and the Golden Go. I think this turn, I don't know, maybe I could sacrifice Hydreigon or even stay in with Toxtricity, because like Kommo is actually really good into the Archaludon. I don't expect Terra Blast to knock out the Golden Go, but I expect it to get it quite low. And then the idea is Hydreigon can finish things off. I can bring out the Hydreigon and also start clicking Snarl with it. Okay, so we get Terra Blast off. That's a ton of damage, wow. We go for Make It Rain. Oh, Kommo survives that. That's huge. Okay. Well, now the question is whether or not they went for Snarl. Snarl is something that people are running on Archaludon now. Draco. Okay. So, Indeedee survives the turn. Very nice. This grants me a free switch in now back into Toxtricity or the Hydreigon. I think I don't mind Toxtricity here. Okay. Go for Overdrive here and Terra Blast into Archaludon. If Archaludon Terras, then you no longer have a defensive Terra after that. Golden Go protects, cool. No Terra from the Archaludon, also cool. So ground Terra Indeedee here has been huge. See how much this does. Tons of damage there, nice. We'll get a stamina boost, but that's fine. You're at -2 special attack right now. Body press isn't really that scary, and then Hydreigon plus Toxtricity with all the spread damage is looking really good. Nice. Okay. And it's just going to be Flash Cannon, that's fine. Snarl would have been the main scary move because you knock out the Indeedee and you decrease my special attack on Tox. But whatever their remaining Pokemon is, Hydreigon plus Toxtricity should be able to deal with. Right? So Hydreigon comes out. Like, let's see what they could have in the back. Pelly, Grim, Incin. All of those are fine, so I'm happy to just Overdrive here. What Terra do we want to consider on Archaludon potentially for them? Grass Terra, I suppose. So I think Dark Pulse here, plus Overdrive should cover for any potential defensive Terra. Nice, I think Tox just gets the double knockout here. Beautiful. Alright. Toxtricity has picked up every knockout in this game so far. One on Rillaboom, and then gets the KO here as well on both. Sweet. And I don't think any of their final Pokemon can handle the combination of this. It's going to be Pelipper. I guess if your Ground Terra Pelipper can get interesting, but we have Assault Vest on the Hydreigon. So you just Overdrive here and go for Dark Pulse. I think 2 Dark Pulses should just knock out Pelly. And there's no Terra here. Nice. So Dark Pulse comes out, and Tox will finish things off with another Overdrive. So a lot about using this Toxtricity is finding the right positions for it to ideally actually get knockouts. And so being able to spam Boom Burst, being able to spam Overdrive, being able to get a key knockout with Sludge Bomb is all really, really good for it. And in this game, yeah, getting rid of Rillaboom on turn 1 was huge. And the fact that Indeedee was able to survive for, really just even an extra turn to get that Terra Blast off was also huge. I think the main decision was when I switched in the Kommo-O, like whether or not it's worth giving up something else there or even staying in with Toxtricity. Of course, we were specs locked into Sludge Bomb, so we had to switch out into 2 Steel Pokemon. But you can see why Ground Terra does exist on this team, because it obviously covers for Steel Terras and just Steel Pokemon. And we ran into 2 different Steel types, right? So having the damage output from Terra Blast is huge in order to chip things and then finish things off with things like Hydreigon as well as Toxtricity. Okay, we have a Maushold, Annihilate, Grimmsnarl, Sinistcha, Incineroar, Tyranitar. This team is scary because it indexes really, really heavily on the Annihilate. I think, for example, you could go Grimmsnarl, Sinistcha, Annihilate plus Mousehole. I think we don't bring Hydreigon into this matchup for sure. It's not very valuable. Burning it with Drifblim is going to be important, and if we force a Terra out of it, then Kommo can Iron Defense. I think the must-brings are Drifblim, Indeedee, Kommo-O. And I'm thinking Toxtricity to Sludge Bomb Grimmsnarl, which I think they might lead with. So I think I want Drifblim, Tox, Indeedee, Kommo-O. I think Kommo's also a potential lead. But I played against a team like this actually when I was practicing with this team, and it was close, but Sinistcha healing was a big problem, and I was like getting so close to knocking everything out, but everything just lived with a sliver of HP every time. And even though I was able to burn Annihilate, it got 4 different bulk ups off, and then like with 4 bulk ups even with the burn and me hitting the Annihilate multiple times, the Rage Fist just stacked up. The idea behind Drifblim plus Toxtricity is I can always pivot in Indeedee on turn 1. I've got Boom Burst pressure. I have pressure with the Will-O-Wisp into Annihilate. Can Tailwind as well. Yeah, it's Grim plus Annihilate. Okay. So against this, I lean towards Will-O-Wisp immediately into you and Sludge Bomb into you. We'll see if they Terra Annihilate immediately to something like Fire Terra. Fire Terra Annihilate, I think, is probably the scariest thing to run into here. If they don't Terra and we burn them, that's a huge advantage. Grim also, I mean, obviously you want to be likely dual screens, but you could have Fake Out, you could Parting Shot, you could even have Misty Terrain, which would be very interesting here. And that'd be very bad news for me. But if they went Misty Terrain and we knock out Grim, it's actually not bad. But here's the Terra immediately, so yeah. If this is Fire Terra, which I assume it will be, it's going to be kind of tough for us. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Oh boy. There is just not a ton of counterplay we have to this, because you get a guarantee. Oh, and they Fake Out. Oh, yeah, this is really bad. Just that I was saying, like, you should be dual screens, but you can also have all these other moves. Okay, so the good thing is we force the Terra out, and I do have bulk up Kommo on the back. Sorry, not bulk up, Iron Defense. So I'm gonna rely on Kommo now to win this game, most likely. We now want to divert our attention into Grimmsnarl. Because we have Expanding Force with this, we have Iron Defense with this as well. They might just Drain Punch me here this turn. Ideally, we get rid of Grim. Okay, I'm going to Sludge Bomb and Acrobatics it. I don't know if Acrobatics even finishes it off, though, to be honest. Like, they should survive Specs Sludge Bomb, and we don't have Acrobatics active right now. Ugh, it's kind of close. Oh, man, that's a bummer. Yeah, ends up kind of being a waste of an attack there. I guess it's not like there's much more I would have wanted to go for anyway. I wonder if this Parting Shots now, as you Drain Punch Toxtricity. I don't want to just give up Toxtricity, because I feel like conserving it for Boom Burst in the late game could be really valuable. I wonder if I should have just led Tox Kommo in this game. Can Tailwind now? This turn? I don't need a Tailwind this turn, right? Well, they might KO me. So actually Tailwind, Sludge Bomb. Probably Reflect now. Yeah. Not knocking out the Grimmsnarl was unfortunate. I was hoping to deny Reflect so that Kommo could come out, but yeah, it just has so much bulk. And the Fire Terra plus Defiant means that I am just very weak into Annihilate, unfortunately, with Drifblim. I go for another bulk up, okay. Oh, I guess that keeps us in it. We're trying to stall a light screen, but the problem is I've just left on Annihilate kind of untouched. There's not much more I could have done, right, with the... And Tyranitar comes out. Okay, that's scary as well. I can burn the T-Tar at least with Will-O-Wisp. Burn you. And go for a poison with Sludge Bomb. One comes out. No poison, unfortunately. Okay. I'm wondering if it was Goggles on the Annihilate, because if it weren't, then poison plus sand damage actually would have added up really quickly. Yeah, they finally Rage Fist us here. Tox faints. I mean, I was normal Terra with Toxtricity. I wonder if it was ever worth it to normal Terra just to get around a Rage Fist. This matchup is so abysmal that I think it might have been worth it. Man, even with Burn, knockoff does so much. I think we Feign from Sand here. Yeah. This is just a really tough matchup. I think because we rely so much on special damage, the alternative would have been leading Kommo and just Iron Defensing up. And they were leftovers too. Okay. And I don't have... Yeah, I don't have Protect on Entity. So with Sand up, I think I probably just end up losing this, huh? Unless Expanding Force... I mean, Body Press is not going to KO them. They just Drain Punch into Entity. If I had Protect, I'd probably go something like Protect plus Iron Defense, then Body Press, Expanding Force. But with screens up, Annihilate is just impossible to KO. Hydreigon, I don't think would have contributed much in this matchup. And I guess Volk had Fairy Terra Blast, but we don't have a way to really take advantage of Fire Terra other than Earth Power, I guess. So I think we're playing towards just an Expanding Force crit here. Their last one should be Sinistra. I'm gonna Iron Defense. Expanding Force crit here would actually potentially win us the game. Because then it would be Kommo into T-Tar, Burnt T-Tar, and Sinistra. But, yeah. Them having Fake Out on turn 1, also just denying us any potential damage from Toxtricity was rough. I think if I were to replay this, maybe I would lead Kommo plus the Tox. And just thread an Iron Defense immediately, but no crit comes out. Yeah. Because Fire Terra is to be expected, but when I played against a different version of this composition, they actually had Water Terra on the Annihilate. But the T-Tar here setting up the Sand is also just really huge for my opponent. And I think with Tox plus Kommo, then the question is, it's like, I don't want to just be Boom Bursting and then giving them free stacks on Rage Fist on Annihilate. Get rid of my leftovers as well. And T-Tar here being able to break Sash on Entity is also a really big deal, because Entity's value in this game is normally, in this matchup, is normally getting 2 Expanding Forces off. But yeah, these Protected Annihilate compositions can be really scary, and Tyranitar is actually a new addition to this kind of composition that I hadn't seen before. And it does unlock a bit more, right, because it does decent damage, and it is also able to set up the Sand, obviously. So, +2 defense. I'm not going to give up quite yet. I'm going to Iron Defense here again. T-Tar switches. It's probably Sinistra coming out right now. Yeah. The problem is they got Light Screen and Reflect up, so I just do such little damage, and now you can just redirect my Body Presses away. Now, I do have Fire Terra Flamethrower, but with leftovers removed as well, it's just a really tough spot. Yeah, they're just going to bulk up again. Basically, like, they should have this one, but if we get lucky with, one single crit onto Annihilate, we could still win. The problem here is, like, I don't even know if Flamethrower is going to be a 2-hit knockout onto their Sinistra. So if I were to replay this, maybe Kommo Tox lead, for example. Peter's out. Fire Terra Flamethrower into you now. I think it's probably a 2-hit KO even without Light Screen up, which is why, like, I need to just start getting damage on a Sinistra. Like, if we... The idea is to just ignore the Annihilate for a couple turns, get to +6 defense, they're at +6 attack. They should win in the long run there, unless we get a crit. And I'm also losing my HP every turn, and they can heal with Drain Punch. So the odds aren't in our favor. Like, I would say that this is basically a lost game, but it's not 100% over yet, I think, because one Body Press crit onto Annihilate knocks it out. Tyranitar does no damage, right? Neither does Sinistra. So this game basically entirely lies in Annihilate's hands. The thing is, they have a lot of defense on it. I haven't really done enough damage to it either. So, yep, there's that Rage Powder. That's fine. The hope is to, like, get a 2-hit KO, but honestly, let's see how much Rage Fist does. It's just way too much anyway. Yeah. And you can see they played this in a way that was as safe as possible. Like, the only turn they really risked a critical hit was against the NDD. Yeah, eject button is, I've seen is really common on these sets recently. So, yeah, this is my second time running into it today. So, seems like a new composition that a lot of people are liking. Just like very hard protect the Annihilate comp. I think, yeah, I just end up fainting here from another Rage Fist, and they're faster, which is also the problem. I think Fire Terra is the absolute correct Terra to run on a comp like this. Yeah, I might as well. Like, the only way I can see myself winning this is a Miracle Body Press. For some reason, they don't KO us, but yeah, Sinistra, super safe to switch into here. I was thinking if, like, even if you got the lowest damage roll on Rage Fist, it's probably still a knockout, but yeah. Very nicely played. It just didn't feel like there was too much I could have done in this game, especially with the Fake Out surprise. Turn 1 was really bad. I guess if I went Acrobatics and a Grimstar to get chip damage off, then turn 2 Sludge Bomb macro KOs, and then I at least have denied the Reflect, but I still don't think that's really enough to win this game. The problem is it's just not easy to knock out Annihilate quickly enough, so if I were to try again, maybe I would consider, like, leaning more towards Kommo-O, but, like, I think the scary thing about Kommo-O is that, like, into Grimstar, if they have Spirit Break, they just obviously threaten us with the knockout, so I'd feel kind of pressure to Terror Kommo-O immediately, which also doesn't feel good, but maybe Toxtricity Kommo-O is another lead I would consider, but I think it's a really, really tough matchup, honestly. My opponent didn't make any mistakes there. All right, we've got a pretty standard Rain team here. Indeedee Sneasler, Pelliar Chaladon, Dragonite, Basket Legion. Sneasler is going to be spooky here. Basket Legion can be faster than Drifblim, which is scary as well. If they're Jolly max speed. A lot are admin, but I actually played against a Jolly one in practice, and it being able to outpace, like, Toxtricity outside of Rain and Drifblim, even in Psychic terrain with Unburden active, is a pretty big problem. I think Indeedee Sneasler is definitely one possible lead from them. Could be Dark Terra Throat Chop. I've got Imprison on Indeedee. Normally into Rain, like, I want this lead. Hydreigon, Tox in the back. I'd mainly be bringing Kommo-O for our Chaladon. I just don't love it into anything else on their team. And then Volk is just not great when they have Pelipper, right? So, let's see. I think the main thing in maneuvering the Rain matchup is figuring out how to allocate damage onto Drifblim, and you're normally onto our Chaladon, because Drifblim's not going to do very much into our Chaladon, so you're going to want to think about things like Ground Terra, Terra Blast, as well as Earth Power from Hydreigon. They're going to go with Drifblim plus the Indeedee. Okay. If they're going with this, I'm thinking turn 1, they're just going to go for the Dark Terra on Sneasler. So Unburden activates on both ends. Dark Terra is my expectation. I do have Imprison, which is really interesting. Tailwind Imprison is the play I'm thinking of. Yeah. They didn't Terra. Wow. I wonder if they're trying to imprison us. That would be kind of funny. Okay. Yeah. So I wonder if they were choice scarfed here, because that would explain why they played that way. Well, their Indeedee slot now is in a really tough position, so I think I can Expanding Force for sure. They might just, like, if I were them, I'd probably switch this out into our Chaladon and then throw chop into my Indeedee. But they could close combat as well. I'm leaning towards Terra Blast and Acro here. Yep, there's a switch. Should be our Chaladon is my guess. On Dragulon. Yep. Oh, they didn't Terra. But Acro just one-shots. Oh, okay. Nice. Cool. Well, it's a shame I went for Terra Blast here then, rather than Expanding Force. But yeah, I was expecting them to Terra there, so I'll gladly take the knockout. I think now you have to go into your final Pokemon. So this is big. Basic. What? Leftovers. Oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, that's really good for us, in my opinion, because it means they bring out Dragonite as well. Cool. Yeah, it's a big deal because it means Expanding Force just becomes that much more viable. So 2 turns of Tailwind left, 3 turns of Terrain. Got Hydreigon Tox in the back. Free opportunity Expanding Force here. I think I'm going to go Expanding Force and Will-O-Wisp. I really don't want this to be able to Scale Shot everything. Drifblim also should not be threatened that much by our Chaladon because you don't have Electro Shot pressure right now. They could just Scale Shot Drifblim, I guess. So I thought about clicking Strength Sap into Dragonite, but I think getting the burn onto it is huge, and we don't miss, fortunately. That's fantastic. Nice. Get Expanding Force off here. Is that Assault Vest Dragonite? No. No, they're Scale Shotting. It does such little damage, though. Wow. Beautiful. 3... My guess is this Archaladon might have Snarl based on how this has played out so far, but let's see. Get your speed boost. Oh, they just body press us. Okay. That's fine. I would like to Strength Sap here. Ideally. Everything's still in prison. I do have Fighting or Ground Terra Blast into you. And I've also got Toxtricity Hydreigon. Normal Terra in the endgame with this isn't bad. Ghost Terra is actually very good on this, right? Because it makes me immune to Body Press. Terra Blast. Okay, I'm gonna Acro Expanding Force. Cool. Dragonite doesn't protect. That almost just KOs. Wow. Beautiful. We get Expanding Force off. And now Ghost Terra Hydreigon should be immaculately positioned because I just ignore your Body Press. It should be Body Press, Electro Shot, Protect. Okay, they knock out Indeedee. That's totally fine. I can bring out Toxtricity or Hydreigon. I think we just go into Hydreigon first and go for the Dark Terra. Bait out the Body Press. Sorry, not Dark Terra, Ghost Terra. Tailwind Peters out. This leftover set is really interesting because it still looks really specially defensive, right? So I wonder if it's like no special attack investment, just like fully HP special defense or a little bit of defense. But Indeedee comes out. Just review the end game. 1 turn of Terrain plus 1 special defense. So I can Terra here, Snarl, and Acrobatics. I think is fine. Terra, Acro. I mainly just don't want to click Tailwind in case they actually Trick Room for some weird reason. Terra, Snarl, Acro. Yeah, that's fine. And I don't think I really need Drifblim. Like, with Drifblim, you could always Strength Sap either your opponent's Pokemon or even Side Strength Sap, which is really interesting. I don't think it's worth it in this game because we have the ability to just knock the Indeedee out. I also think another debate here was to actually click Dark Pulse for 100% accuracy. Go for Expanding Force. Yep. Actually does a lot to the Hydreigon now that I've Terra'd, but it's fine. Snarl disconnect. I did want to get the Snarl off into our Chaladon because I didn't want them to get a full power Draco Meteor off into us, for example. Okay. They faint. Yeah. Ghost Terra is perfect. That's exactly why I want to conserve Terra, because I knew that I would be able to make this play. And Ghost Terra is kind of surprising, but there's really not much downside anyway, right? So, with you being leftovers, I also don't have to worry as much, because regardless of what Terra you go for, Earth Power plus Boom Burst should always be a KO, I think. So, Earth Power here. Boom Burst here. They protect this turn, I'm sure. But with Earth Power... Oh, no, they don't even protect. Okay. Cool. Nice. I wonder if the AER Chaladon just doesn't have Protect then. But, I don't know. Body Press, Electro Shot. Like, you're just running the Assault Vest set with leftovers instead of Assault Vest. I think that'd be pretty interesting. But, yeah. I do wonder... I think if the Hydreigon is always going to survive an Expanding Force Draco Meteor combination from neutral or Chaladon, it's actually smarter to go for Dark Pulse there, because there's the 5% chance we could have lost this game. If I miss that Snarl onto the Inity, then Inity Expanding Force just KOs me. Right? And the Toxtricity before it can move. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that was a position to consider actually going for an 100% accurate move. Inity could have Protect. We never got to see the rest of its moves. We saw Imprison, Expanding Force, and that was basically it. So yeah, there's a debate as to whether or not I should just gone for Dark Pulse or something like Tailwind, for example. Tailwind Snarl. Because yeah, I think like the way I played this endgame means I win 95% of the time, but is there a way to win 100% of the time while covering for all the different options of Inity, right? I was thinking they might have been Scarfinity, given that they were, like, willing to go for Imprison on turn 1 the way they did. Like, I feel like you only go for that if you're confident on outpacing me. And we did see their terrain activate first, but obviously it could have been a 50-50 speed tie. Okay, we have Dozo here, but with Incineroar, Metagross, and Electabuzz. That's interesting. Drifblim has a really good Dozo matchup. I think it's very good here overall. Electabuzz is kind of spooky. They don't have really good speed control other than potential Electro Web from Electabuzz. Spread Boom Burst is nice. I think Electabuzz Metagross is probably the lead I fear the most. Volk. Volk Tox. Depending on the lead, I can pivot in. I think Inity Drifblim probably need to be brought out in this game. But I don't want to lead it, because if I lose Drifblim too early, then I lose my Dondozo counter. So I'm thinking Tox plus... Maybe Tox Hydreigon is the lead. Drifblim Inity. I feel like Volk should be brought here for Hydreigon. Okay, you know what? I'm going to try Toxtricity Volk, Drifblim Inity. With this, I could, depending on the lead, like let's say they lead like Rilla Electabuzz, I could pivot in, I can even pivot in Inity, but I probably wouldn't want to Boom Burst myself if Inity is coming out. Let's see what they go for. If I were them, I would go Electabuzz Metagross. With Dozo Tatsu in the back. But Volk plus Tox should be pretty good here. My guess is we bait out a Terra from Metagross, but let's see. What Terra could it be? Electroweb Earthquake is a little bit spooky. Well, if they have Earthquake, they have, I guess. I'm actually thinking turn 1, normal Terra, Boom Burst, Protect. Because I think if you're my opponent, there's no way you just let me Fire-type attack your Metagross. So the idea is to get some good damage off, and then this also makes me not take super effective damage from a Stomping Tantrum or Earthquake. And then the next turn, I can look towards pivoting, for example, Drifblim in or Indian and clicking Heat Wave. No Terra for Metagross, though. So let's see if it protects. No Protect either, so could have just been Heat Wave here. Okay. I don't regret making this play because I think Terra Protect makes so much sense here, but they might be thinking, oh my gosh, that does so much damage. Thunder Wave. Whoa. Okay, not your typical speed control, what you see from Electabuzz. And Psychic Fangs. That's fine. I'm down to Heat Wave now. I'll switch Drifblim in here and Heat Wave, especially with confirmation of how slow Electabuzz is. One of the recent techs that we've seen in the meta, or I shouldn't say techs, more like meta developments, is just fast Electabuzz with Electro Web. Oh, they Bullet Punch us here. Okay. Unfortunately, we survived that. Nice. Heat Wave double connects. Sweet. So yeah, like, the logic there was, like, I didn't think Metagross would just, they would let me get a free Heat Wave off there into Metagross, right? So I figured, like, a Water Terra, a Fire Terra would make sense, and I figured, well, if you do that, Boom Burst just does so much damage, might even get the knockout, but even if not, then a Volk Heat Wave can finish you off afterwards. But no Terra on turn 1, and they end up Thunder Waving into a Protect. And it's Dozo here. Perfect. Okay. Dozo Tatsu is exactly what we want to see here in the back. So I can switch in Indeedee, activate on Burden, and then just burn Dondozo. I think I'm mainly scared about just missing Will-O-Wisp outright, so I wonder if it's actually the correct decision to Strength Sap instead, but I'm not confident on surviving +1 Wave Crash, so I think it's better to go for the burn. Will-O-Wisp into you, bring out Indeedee. And yeah, Dondozo is just, like, Drifblim is so good into Dondozo because we can burn it and just Strength Sap it. And just keep decreasing its attack. So, Indeedee comes out. Unfortunately, though, I had to commit the Terra on the Toxtricity early on. Like, having Terra on Drifblim. Terra Grass would be perfect for Dondozo right now. Okay, we bait out Terra from their end. Let's see. What's it going to be? Steel? Terra Grass. Okay. That is totally fine by me because I've got Heat Wave and Sludge Bomb into you. Nice, so we don't miss Will-O-Wisp. Perfect. Yeah, Drifblim is a very, very nice anti-Dozo measure. Dondozo, not exactly super popular in the meta right now, but still something you certainly want to respect. Wave Crash comes out. Almost KOs me. Yep, we definitely needed the burn. And there's the leftovers. That's fine. And now we can start Strength Sapping, which is awesome. So burn essentially negates the leftovers. And they did go with the exact same 4 I think I would have went with if I were in their shoes. We have Acrobatics, which is super effective as well. So Strength Sap here, Expanding Force. Steel Terra has become increasingly common on Dondozo specifically because of the Clear Smog Amoonguses. But now I get to drop your attack, heal all the way back up. Look at that. And Expanding Force. Dozo's actually slower than Indeedee here, which is surprising. So not as much speed investment. I'm going to go for Order up here. Cool. Yep. I think I can just Acrobatics and Expanding Force now. Cool to see the Metagross, though. I think it's honestly kind of an underplayed Pokemon. We saw it get, I think, top 16 at a regionals with Coaching and Assault Vest, or Coaching Sneasler paired with it. I think, honestly, Acrobatics plus Expanding gets the KO, but let's see. If you Wave Crash, you just end up taking more recoil. So, yeah, they end up forfeiting. But I think getting so much burst damage with the Toxtricity already was really good, and because they weren't Electro Web and they were Thunder Wave, in turn 1 they didn't really get good means of speed control. I think like us surviving the Psychic Fangs, getting a lot of burst damage off, and then just getting knockouts immediately, put the Dondozo and forced it out quicker, and Drifblim just, yeah, loves going up against Dondozo. Alright, we've got Goldengo, Incineroar, Primarina, Dragonite, Garchomp, Triple Starter, Dual Dragon, and a Goldengo. What do I want to bring here? If I were them, I would... Like, the anti-side spam stuff would be Incin, Goldengo, Rilla, Dragonite. To which Drifblim can burn Dragonite and Rilla. It's weak to Insane plus Gold and Go. Volk with Fairy Terra looks solid here. Toxtricity can be valuable. Thinking about using it as a closer, but I could also use it if they try to bring Rillaboom early. If I'm leading NDD plus Drifblim, what am I vulnerable to? I think something like Insane Primarina lead, Insane Golden Go lead. Both can be really spooky. Insane Primarina, Insane Golden Go. I don't know. Hydreigon's kind of tempting here, I would say. Can I just lead Toxtricity, honestly, and, like, Boom Burst? That's one of the other things I'm thinking. I kind of want to try Hydreigon Toxtricity here. I think I'm not going to bring Kommo-O. Volk. NDD. I'm dropping Drifblim in this one. I think that's questionable because it's really good into Dragonite, Garchomp, Rilla, but very weak into Insane, Primarina, Golden Go. I think that's the downside of Drifblim, where there's some Pokemon where you just completely wall and they have a terrible time against you, and then there are other Pokemon that just can ignore Drifblim and are not threatened by it whatsoever. It's Dragonite Rilla here, so NDD Drifblim would have been totally fine as a lead. Okay. Scale Shot's obviously scary. Fake Out scary as well. This lead makes sense, though, because if I let NDD Drifblim, you would override the terrain, but I would have just pressured with Will-O-Wisp here immediately, so... I played this in a way that I assumed they would respect NDD Drifblim, and maybe I should have just committed to it a little bit more. I think the problem right now is Scale Shot kind of crushes me. I'm going to need a Fairy Terra this, in my opinion, in order to deal with Dragonite. They might Fake Out. The play I want to make is bring in NDD and go for Sludge Bomb. With the hope that they Fake Out into Toxtricity, Scale Shot NDD. I bring out Volcarona for free, Fairy Terra Volk. I think Volt Switch on Dragonite may have also been better here to break multi-scale. We do bait out a Terra though, okay. Let's see, Steel Fairy Terra maybe on Dragonite. Fairy, yeah. Okay. Maybe I could have just stayed in with both this turn, but I assumed they would Fake Out. Wow, they didn't Fake Out. We do one-shot Rillaboom, though. Okay, that's nice. And we're faster than Dragonite, which is expected. They do just Scale Shot NDD. Okay. Yeah, I think the main problem here is by not bringing Drifblim, I kind of fold to the Dragonite, but Fairy Terra Volcarona will wall it. The problem is I don't have Protect on anything, so... They get a free Scale Shot into Toxtricity right now, which I think is very bad for me. So I can bring out Volk, I can Fairy Terra it, but I think I might need, like, I don't know, 4 hits onto Tox. We don't have Tailwind here either. I kind of just made a hard call in this game, thinking that they would go very anti-NDD Drifblim. They bring out Golden Go, okay. I also wonder if this is Scarf Gold. It's decently common these days. I mean, we could just win on the spot here. I'm just going to send it, I think. Fairy Terra. I guess my main question is whether or not I need to Terra, because I could also conserve Terra for Hydreigon here. I think they probably should be knocking out Toxtricity here. Yeah, I'm going to Fairy Terra, just Heat Wave, Sludge Bomb. Because if they mess up here and they target Volcarona with Scale Shot, we would be like making a potential winning play here. But this is a great play by them, yeah. And they didn't even bring Incineroar in the game, nor did they... Yeah, so like NDD Drifblim lead I think would have been quite effective here. My play would have been to just burn them turn 1 and then switch the NDD out into Tox or Hydreigon. Yeah, they do Scale Shot Tox. If they only get 4 hits, though, we actually get the knockout, and we might just win off that. Hold on, let's see. 4 hits. Okay, nice. If we don't miss Heat Wave, that would be huge. Let's see. Okay, nice. Well, Sludge Bomb now KOs Dragonite. I like ideally did not want it to get to a point where it'd be like a 50-50. This also meant I could have conserved my Terra. I'm still worried a little bit about Choice Scarf on the Golden Go. But if it's not Scarf Gold, we kind of just win. So I'm just trying to think, okay, if it is Scarf Golden Go, what are the things I can do to get around it? Make it rain. Switch Tox out. I just feel like if they were Scarf, they just would have stayed in there, right? Hydreigon's not that valuable. It's valuable into Golden Go, but it won't beat Primarina. So I think I protect Volk here and then switch in Hydreigon. And then Toxtricity is close to just ending the game with Specs Overdrive. Or Specs Sludge Bomb if we knock out Golden Go. Volk protects. Okay, let's just make it rain. That's fine. We'll have to see if it's Hyper Voice or... that didn't do a ton. I'm still worried about it being Scarfed. They do Moonblast us as well. Nice call. Alright. Well, we'll see if you're Scarfed. If you are, then they should just end up winning this. Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned because that Make It Rain damage did not feel like Specs damage. Would much prefer to see that. We can Heat Wave and Overdrive here. I mean, maybe we survive Make It Rain. Man, that sucks. They weren't Scarfed, and we did survive too. Oh, but you're going to miss with some moves on this team, right? Like, you've got Will-O-Wisp, you got Heat Wave. And unfortunately, we, did not have a 100% way to win that game. But it sucks because they weren't Scarfed in the end. So, Life Orb Heat Wave should get the knockout on the Golden Go. And then Overdrive just KOs Primarina single target. Oh, that's a bummer. But it is what it is. I mean, yeah, I think, like, I needed to conserve Toxtricity for Primarina. The thing, though, is because I switched out, like, I was covering for Scarf, but I could have just stayed in with Toxtricity and just gotten my Sludge Bomb off into Primarina, get that knockout, and then Hydreigon could deal with the Golden Go. Basically, what I was thinking is if you're Scarfed and they don't end up Moonblasting and Hyper Voicing, I guess, like, Toxtricity, yeah. So the logic I had behind the switch was basically saying, look, I know Scarf is a problem, and Primarina could also protect in that position. And I obviously don't want like to lose to either Primarina protect and then they are Scarf, or they yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think, because then if I had just Sludge Bomb there, I wouldn't have had to rely on a Heat Wave miss, right? But Primarina could protect in that position. So maybe it was better to just stay in there. I'm trying to think, if I stay in and they protect, Make It Rain, even if they're not Scarfed, then Heat Wave just wins, right? And if they are Scarfed, then you get the knockout. Scarf Golden Go is fairly common on ladder these days, so basically the logic I had is, look, if I protect and make the switch and they Hyper Voice rather than Moonblast, like the Moonblast was big by them, right? Because basically I was saying, look, if you are Scarf and you Hyper Voice, then I can just use Hydreigon to Dark Pulse you, and then Toxtricity can come back out and then click Overdrive for the win. And so it's like basically in the scenario that I ended up going for, it covers for like 90% of options. I guess the thing, though, is because they ended up Moonblasting, if they were Scarfed, I still would have lost that endgame anyway, so maybe it would have been better to just stay in, but basically if they Hyper Voice instead of Moonblasting, then we actually should just have the game, like, kind of locked up, because then I would be able to, like, Dark Pulse into the Golden Go slot. So, yeah. I don't know, it's interesting, because, yeah, like, there was the 10% chance of missing, and obviously it happened, which is kind of unfortunate, but it also just begs the question as to whether or not I should have just stayed in with Toxtricity. So, yeah. Ooh, we've got Sand here. Not Excadrill, though. It's T-Tar Lycanroc, Corviknight, Annihilate, Sylveon, and the Sinistcha. Okay. It's a pretty physical team. We have Soundproof on Kommo-O, so I think Kommo-O should probably be the primary Pokemon to play towards in this game, especially with Iron Defense. Have to be careful about Endeavor Lycanroc. Sand breaking Indeedee is not ideal. I'm not even sure I'd bring Indeedee into this game. I could still bring Drifblim without Indeedee, which is very fascinating. Kommo is an absolute must here. I'm a little bit worried about Scarf Gambit Annihilate. I think it's probably pretty safe for them to just lead Tyranitar Lycanroc. I could lead Kommo and force Flying Terra out from T-Tar immediately. Drifblim having Will-O-Wisp and Tailwind makes it a valuable bring still, in my opinion. So I'm thinking Drifblim, Kommo-O. I don't think a Vest Hydreigon is it here. Tox Indeedee. Okay. This is not the easiest matchup, in my opinion. Them being the Lycanroc specifically makes things a little bit more challenging. Because I think if it were Excadrill, a lot of Excadrills don't carry Rock Slide. Like, you run High Horsepower, Earthquake, Iron Head Protect, and so Drifblim would be able to, like, spread burns across the board. So if it were Excadrill, I'd probably just lead Indeedee plus the Drifblim. But it's T-Tar Annihilate. Okay, I don't mind this very much. The main thing I'm trying to do with this lead is ideally bait out a Terra turn 1 from Tyranitar. I'm mainly worried about Scarf Gambit on this, because they could Scarf Gambit into Kommo-O here. I think what I want to do is Will-O-Wisp into Tyranitar and then switch Indeedee in turn 1. It could be offensive Annihilate, but they could go for coaching here. I'm just hoping that they're, deterred from... Like, Tyranitar here should feel threatened, right? If we bait out a Terra and burn it, it puts us in a really good spot, I would say. But honestly, leading Indeedee Drifblim would have just been more effective in the end, with no Lycanroc from their end. Cool, here's the Terra. Let's see who it is. Like I said, I expect it to be T-Tar. Nice, okay, good. Good. So now, we're going to render this slot pretty useless. Toxtricity can hit you for super effective damage as well, which is why I brought it in the back. My dream would be seeing a final Gambit into the Indeedee slot right now, and then just trading Annihilate for Indeedee. Okay, it's going to be coaching instead, but that also is fine. Okay, I'm curious if we go for Terra Blast here. Nope, just Rock Slide. Okay. Does a lot of damage, but that's fine. You no longer can Terra. If you're coaching, yep, Scarf on the Annihilate. So now, pretty safe opportunity for me to get a free Tailwind up. One option is Tailwind. The other is actually Strength Sap here. Yeah, I don't necessarily need a Tailwind this turn. Hold on, Strength Sap is just always better, I think. Because I end up surviving with both, and I get Expanding Force off. Yeah. Oh, I guess the downside, though, is they'll get another coaching, so it'll kind of negate the attack drop, huh? But Drifblim will survive the turn, which is critical. Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with this outcome. I'm assuming they're just Rock Sliding again. I guess they could go for Knockoff into Drifblim. I was mainly thinking they needed to switch out the Annihilate there, but this is still a fine trade, right? I get the knockout onto that, which is huge. Let's see what T-Tar goes for. Probably just another Rock Slide's my guess. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Indeedee faints. And now, that should be Assault Vest on T-Tar, so it's a free switch it into Lycanroc. But I think Tailwind would have been better. I just thought Annihilate would definitely switch out there, because Tailwind Expanding Force would have just gotten the knockout. I guess they don't get the boost, and then they get the knockouts, but then I get 2 free switch-ins. But let's just go into Tox here. My guess is Lycanroc comes out from their end, but let's see. And now that we've baited out the Terror on turn 1, Tox is in a really good spot. Yep, there's Lycanroc. Okay. We probably just Rock Slide here, right? I think the main thing I'm worried about is getting flinched by it. Normal Terra here, not necessary. Probably Grass Terra to get around Rock Slide being super effective. I'm thinking Grass Terra. Strength Sap. Into you. And Overdrive. Kommo-O doesn't need to Terra here. Fire Terra is very bad into this. So I think this is okay. It makes me wonder if I should have just Grass Terra Drifblim earlier in this battle, but Grass Terra does become vulnerable to Flying Terra Blast on their end. Yep, they just Rock Slide. We survive with both. Nice, no flinch on Drifblim. Huge. We get the Strength Sap off. Critically healing all the way back up. And no flinch on Tox. Beautiful. We get the knockout onto T-Tar. Amazing. I think the main debate there is whether or not I should have just Tailwinded. I mean, Tailwinding might honestly make a little bit more sense. But I figured if I... Because I think the main thing is with Tailwind, then I don't have to deal with flinch chances from Lycanroc. Flinch is kind of annoying from it. Although, actually, Lycanroc should still be faster than Toxtricity anyway, right? So even if I were to Tailwind, I don't think it actually makes a huge difference. They bring out Sinistcha, which is totally fine. Cool. So now we're just looking to stall out the sand. Kommo-O is really well positioned in this end game. You're at -1 attack as well. So I think here, I mean, we should just get the knockout. They're just going to Rock Slide again. Kommo-O's pretty good in this end game. I've got super effective acrobatics as well. I think I'm happy to just acrobatics and overdrive, honestly. I want to be a little bit cautious of clicking Tailwind and then like Sinistcha Trick Rooming on me. And with them being at -1 attack from Lycanroc, I think we should be in great shape. Oh, and they protect. Beautiful. All right. Could be a double protect, I guess, but it's not going to be... Look how much damage acrobatics does. Wow. That was a crit. I was like, how did it do that much? Rocky Helmet, okay. Well, with no Citrus Berry and with that crit, this should just definitely be a knockout. But I don't know if there was too much Sinistcha could have gone for that would have scared me in that position anyway. I think what was big in this game was just baiting out that Terra immediately and then using the Toxtricity just to do a lot of damage. Drifblim was awesome in this one as well, right? Being able to burn the Tyranitar, being able to acrobatics, being able to Strength Sap into Lycanroc. So Will-O-Wisp now and Overdrive. And Kommo-O obviously just wins the end game here. But I think Lycanroc as a Pokemon is mainly scary because it gets fast Rock Slides. The damage output, not as scary, but the potential of flinching with it is spooky. And I thought Kommo-O was really good in this game. I thought it was actually the primary win condition, which is why I was trying to save it for Tyranitar and Lycanroc, but I did not want it to get popped by either a Final Gambit immediately, and they didn't end up going for Final Gambit. They opted for coaching instead, but imagine if they just Final Gambit as I go for an Iron Defense on turn 1. Trading Iron Defense Kommo-O for or for the Annihilate is not a worthy trade, right? So they were smart. They went for coaching instead. I think the main thing is in this game, I probably could have gone for Tailwind a little bit sooner. Like I never really did, and the turn Annihilate stayed in. That could have been Tailwind into Expanding Force. If I get that Tailwind up, then it means that the Drifblim will outpace Lycanroc since I've got the Unburden and the Speed Boost, meaning like I can Will-O-Wisp it or Strength Sap it before it moves. And so the main scary turn here was when I got Rock Slided, and you know both Pokemon had the opportunity to potentially flinch. Luckily enough, with neither Pokemon flinching, I think the game was just basically over from that. But like yeah, Lycanroc I think mainly scary because it has fast flinches. Whoa, we've got Murkrow, regular Typhlosion, Farigiraf, Ursaluna, Archaludon, and Serena. Murkrow's kind of spooky for NDD. Can't Expanding Force it. But I think I have to get through like Murkrow Typhlosion as a combo for my opponent, which is really scary. So I might still go Drifblim NDD. So I can Expanding Force Tailwind, match their Tailwind, and then pressure with Acrobatics. Hydreigon with Assault Vest is also not a terrible option, but I want to respect Sunny Day and Tailwind from Murkrow. So I think Drifblim, NDD, Hydreigon, and Volk with Heat Wave here looks really good. But Toxtricity can also Boom Burst, and I think that's fun. So we're going to bring Toxtricity. Yeah, I think with this team, you have so many potential lead combos with Toxtricity, but the reality is I think getting that Tailwind up and bringing Drifblim in the lead is often just too valuable to not commit to. Especially when your opponent has good speed control, right? Because in this case, if I don't lead Drifblim in DD, and they lead Murkrow plus Typhlosion, for example, there's just a lot of explosive damage, right? Like Tailwind, Fire, Terra, Eruption. If I lead Toxtricity, I just kind of have to switch it out or sacrifice it. That doesn't feel good. Hydreigon would be a decent solution to it, but despite them having Murkrow, I'm still going to go with this lead. They're going to go Ursaluna plus Murkrow. Okay. So one of the things to think about is that Boom Burst later on in this battle. I also have Strength Sap immediately, right? Which I actually don't hate. Turn 1. Like, I don't even know if I need to Tailwind here, to be honest, because, like, we do wall Ursaluna completely. My guess is that Ursaluna protects. I kind of want to actually go for... Like, yeah, the question is whether or not we want to read the Ursaluna protecting here. This could Foul Play, could Brave Bird, but an Expanding Force would put this probably in Boom Burst KO range. So I think turn 1 I'm down to Will-O-Wisp into Murkrow and Expanding Force. Okay, cool. They just Tailwind. Fine by me. Yeah, you can see Drifblim is still faster, so the next turn I can just go for a Tailwind. I get to stagger it, which is really nice. Swords Dance, okay. I mean, honestly, I'm fine with that, because it's like, if you're running Swords Dance, you should be running, and look how much damage we do with that. Another Expanding Force just KOs them. I have Focus Sash intact. This just is a very safe Tailwind Expanding Force now. It's a really greedy Swords Dance, in my opinion. If you protect your Ursaluna, that's fine. They don't protect, so I get Tailwind up. We just KO Ursaluna. Okay, I'll take it. Nice. That's out of the way. Yeah, I think Swords Dance is just surprising because Indeedee normally is going to be Focus Sashed anyway, and Drifblim you can't hit with Ursaluna anyway either, so, like, the idea is what are you accomplishing with that, right? But honestly, even if they didn't Swords Dance and they went for, like, Facade, Headlong Rush, Earthquake into Indeedee, I'd still survive, and then we just outpace next turn, so... Now they bring out the Archaludon. Okay. I actually might commit the Ground Terra Blast here, honestly. I'm going down to Will-O-Wisp here. Go for Ground Terra. Terra Blast. Because if the Archaludon doesn't Terra here, it just bursts it with damage. And if it Terras, then Toxtricity can take advantage of the Terra. Will-O-Wisp here just starts getting residual damage onto Archaludon as well, and reduces body press damage output. So Terra Ground Indeedee comes out. Okay, yeah, for Sunny Day. So maybe trying to set up Typhlosion for success. Will-O-Wisp connects. Great. And Ground Terra Blast I think is actually really essential on this Indeedee so we don't get walled by Steel types. So Terra Blast here. If your Assault Vest should still be doing around like 50-ish%. Oh, not Assault Vest. Okay, probably the Power Herb set then, which would make a lot of sense. But I'll gladly take that trade. The downside is Murkrow does completely wall my Indeedee right now, but that's fine. I can even look towards setting up Trick Room, honestly. I assume this KOs, but we do have the special defense boost. Oh my gosh, we actually survive. Wow. Let's go Drifblim. Archaludon probably protects right now. Although I guess they end up fainting from burn anyway, right? Last turn of Tailwind. We've staggered Tailwind. I can Strength Sap you all the way back up. Expanding Force. Actually, let's think about who could they switch into. Serena, I guess. But since they Sunny Date, I think Typhlosion's probably in the back, so I'm down to Terra Blast. Okay, I'm not going to switch either. That's fine. We just heal all the way back up with the Drifblim. Cool. And we get the knockout. I think another cool play could have been Acrobatics or Chaladon and then Trick Room with the NDD. Since they'll have Tailwind up still. But now it's burnt -1 Brave Bird. Yeah, just like 30 damage. Cool. Brave Bird, Sunny Day, Tailwind, Murkrow. Normally you would expect Haze. So... Oh, sorry, we have one extra turn of Tailwind. It was the other way around. So yeah, Trick Room did not make sense. If it was reversed, then it would make sense. Typhlosion comes out. Now, obviously, they are in an angle to just spam Eruption. I still have Tailwind for a turn. They're going to click Tailwind with this, presumably. But with Hydreigon Toxtricity in the back, I think it's fine to just go for Acrobatics here. Terra Blast. So, yeah. Assault Vest Hydreigon, kind of the final ace that we need in order to secure this game. Typhlosion's going to go for the Fire Terra here. Cool to see regular Typhlosion, though, over Hisuian Typhlosion. The upside of using this over Hisuian Typhlosion is no inherent weakness to Dark immediately, so you don't have to worry about like King Gambit Sucker Punch as much. Pretty good damage from Acrobatics, honestly. We're going to go for Eruption. Yep. That is fine by me. We'll get the knockouts here. But now I get Toxtricity and the Hydreigon. Hydreigon with the Assault Vest will easily tank the Typhlosion. We just Earth Power it, KO there, and then win the 1v1 into the Murkrow. Cool. I think they did a very good job setting Typhlosion up for this endgame, though, and if we had, for example, Toxtricity and Kommo-O, Kommo-O probably could still win this endgame, right? Probably. But yeah, Toxtricity should get blown up here, but it's fine because we have Assault Vest Hydreigon. So click Overdrive. Don't expect to get it off, but it's fine. And Earth Power to one-shot the Typhlosion. Yep, so here's Eruption coming out. Is there any chance Tox survives? Let's see. It does not, yeah. Even with Assault Vest Hydreigon and Resistance, Hydreigon still takes a hefty chunk there. They're going to Brave Bird us, but this thing does no damage at this point. Yeah, 24 damage. You'll need 5 more of those to KO us. We get Earth Power off. Cool. Shout out to the Assault Vest. I think without Assault Vest, if this were like a Spec set, for example, or a Life Orb set, they may have actually been able to do enough damage to win this game. Where it's like the Eruption does far more. I guess Draco, like Brave Bird from Murkrow still doesn't do too much though. So we were able to neutralize them pretty early on, but now we can just go for Draco. And a burnt Murkrow's not going to be able to pull this one off. But yeah, I think the turn 1 Swords Dance, like Ursaluna just didn't really accomplish anything for my opponent, right? They didn't get any damage off with it, and this is one of the really great things about Drifblim. You completely wall Ursaluna unless they're running some crazy tech move. Like any standard Ursaluna set with Headlong Rush, Earthquake, Facade Protect, and if they have Swords Dance Substitute, you get to wall all of that, right? So it's kind of like the perfect Pokemon, and the Ghost Terra Hydreigon is also valuable for it. Yeah, so Ursaluna just didn't accomplish anything for my opponent. They only had one offensive threat at the field the whole time. Typhlosion is a really scary Pokemon, but in the end, it's just not able to do enough into Assault Vest Hydreigon. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much as always for joining me, and a huge thank you to Jack for building and sharing this team. It is such a creative and fun team, and to see this team get top 8 at a regionals was so incredible earlier this season, and so very, very happy to have finally gotten a chance to give it a spin and show it to you all. Anyway, thanks as always, and I'll see you all soon. Alright, peace.